This is Rise. Let's lock in with the goal of changing one life at a time. Yours. Together, let us rise up, inspire, strengthen, and elevate our minds. It's time to Rise on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, my name is Dr. Saren Haran, and welcome to Rise. Today we're going to talk to Machida Vassell-Carriage, who is a registered professional nurse, a pastor, wife, and mother. Machida received an Associate of Applied Science in Nursing from Bronx Community College, Bachelorette of Science in Nursing from Lehman College, Masters of Science in Nursing Education from Malloy University, and Masters of Science in Education with a specialization in post-secondary and adult education from Capella University. Machida has worked as an RN in various areas of the medical field, including a non-profit organization serving the developmentally disabled for the past 21 years. She has also worked as an adjunct professor at Suffolk Community College and Malloy College, as well as an online instructor at Phoenix University for 4 years. She has committed herself to pastoring a church for the past 10 years and continues. She believes in teaching and preaching the word of the Lord and hopes to continue to make a difference in the community by collaborating with other churches and organizations. She is here to share some of her challenges, sacrifices, hard work, and how she found her purpose. Always rise to her circumstances and making the best of it. Machida Vassell-Carriage, welcome to Rise here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you, Dr. Iran, and hello, Nassau.
Now, we're just going to dive right into our content here. So many individuals, I think, often wonder what make one pick their profession. Now, how did you decide to be a registered professional nurse? Who inspired you?
Oh my goodness. Well, Nassau and Dr. Iran, I'm telling you that, sometimes you start off at a point and then you ended up where you are, but it's not really where you're heading.
Yes.
But I started off basically working as a home health aide. Okay. And the home health aide, it came just by a friend informing me that, there's a job, there's an agency, and he had a family member and he wanted to introduce me. And I said, home health aide, because that was new. I was not really focusing on even getting into the medical field. Because at first I was working as a travel consultant. That was my mind. I love it.
Wow.
Sending people all over the world.
Yes.
But then I realized that I liked it. And there was a nurse who was visiting the individuals and the patients. And she realized that there was something in me that I didn't see.
Right.
And she said, I remember, why don't you go further and go and basically get into college or nursing school? I was still pondering, because what was she talking about? As I'm sure many of us.
Of course.
And so, I realized it continued where I was working as well as a travel consultant, and another nurse came in and said, why don't you go and get into nursing school, basically college?
Right.
And so that was what gave me the insight, because I found out then that I liked what I was doing,
right,
helping people, the patients, they were depending on me and just offering the service. I love it. So
where do you think you got that from, though? Where do you think you got that caring? Is that from your grandmother or auntie? Like, usually comes from somewhere when you have that caring trait.
It's hard for me to say, because I grew up really with my stepmother and my father.
Okay.
And in growing up with them, growing up with a father, they're teaching you, things like boys would do. There weren't like my mother around, but I used to visit her. But then deep down, I used to feel that love.
Right.
And I would say basically maybe from them, but
yes,
it also stemmed from finding yourself in that situation and others really seeing in you what you really don't see.
That's true. That happens sometimes.
Yes.
Now we want to talk about becoming and how you obtained a particular degree, but often we don't get to talk about the challenges and the sacrifices.
Yes.
Speak to me about that. You chose to you are now in nursing school, and you had your children. You were raising your children. And I know that we've had conversations that, you mentioned getting up early in the morning. Speak to us about the times that you had to get up for those who are listening who may not be aware of the sacrifices and the challenges in trying to complete nursing studies.
Yes. Well, Dr. Aaron, I remember I was at Bronx Community College then. And so as a nurse or in nursing school, a student in nursing school, there are a lot of paperwork, a lot of studying. There are times that you have to get from your home to clinical at a certain time. I had to get up like 5 a.m. Right. And I had to take my daughter because I had the only family support I had then, they were my children and they were younger. And so the only support I had were other students, and they were in similar situation as myself. I remember a friend that I had, her name is Maria, and she had a son that was the same age as my daughter. And we had to get up. I had to get up. At the time I was living in the Bronx, living in Soundview area. I had to get on the bus to the train and get over there in the Bronx area, close to Bronx Community College, and drop my daughter off at the daycare and then get back on the train. There were times I'm running. I'm telling you, there were times when I was crying. Right. I cried because it was so much. Yes. And to get from home and get over there, drop her off, I had to get to clinical area by 7 a.m. And I couldn't be late. If we were late, then, it's a point of failure. Yes. And so I had to get there, ensure that she's on time, and to get back on the train. And it was such a challenge. Without the support, because if I had the support, I would have been able to go straight to clinical, and then someone would have been able to drop her off.
Now, most people,
no support. And so, yes.
Yes. So most people who they're not nurses, they're not even aware of the meticulous training for a registered professional nurse that's required. So like you mentioned, you have to show up, and you also have to give care to patients. So you're not just showing up to show up. You're handed patients that you have to care for your clinical day, and you have to show that theory to practice. Speak to me a little bit about that.
Oh my, the theory, it seemed so easy as a nurse, and not understanding that it takes so much putting everything together. We as nurses, and even then as nursing student, everyone is depending on us. A patient laying on the bed, that person is depending on us to be able to know exactly what to do, to be able to put the theory with the practical together, to ensure that if we go in and the doctor writes an order, we have to know. It's all about knowing and application. Yes. So it wasn't just us going in and saying that, okay, we are in clinical, and yes, we are a nurse. We have to be able to develop that skill and know exactly what needs to be done. So, for example, we need time to study. Those care plans, we have to put those care plans together. Yes. We have to have the knowledge and take the knowledge from the books into the clinical area. Yes. And also from the clinical area, again, into the patient's room. So everything coming together makes up the whole. And that takes a lot of dedication. It's a lot of sacrifice, because when we would have been sleeping, we have to be up working on all those papers, preparing ourselves for the test, preparing ourselves for the paper test, and also for the test in the clinical area.
Now, many people may not know that most nurses in your junior year, it qualifies you to take what's called the LPN, the Licensed Practical Nurse Exam. And you could actually begin to work prior to finishing your BSN. Talk to me about that experience, because you took advantage of that opportunity.
Yes, I did. And I'm so grateful that I did too. And so how the program is set up at the associate level, once you're in the nursing program, then it's like 2 classes per semester. And once you have completed, I believe it was 6 semester, not six, 3 of the 6 semester or 4 of the 6 semester. There was a time when you get to a point in the course where you would have been able, or that qualifies you to be able to take the LPN boards. And so I jumped at the opportunity. And jumping at the opportunity at the time, because of the group we were in, like a group, and the group, we're saying to ourselves, what if? So some uncertainty was there for us. And so we said, no, let's go ahead, pursue the LPN licensing. And we did. Wonderful. And all of us, I would say, including myself, we passed the LPN boards, and we were so happy. That gave us the opportunity that we could have started working as the nurse while we still pursue to complete our RN degree.
You are listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saren Heron, and today we're talking to Machida Vassell Carriage, who is a registered professional nurse, a pastor, a wife, and mother. Machida received an Associate of Applied Science in Nursing from Bronx Community College, her Bachelorette of Science in Nursing from Lehman College, Master's of Science in Nursing Education from Malloy University, and Master's of Science in Education with a specialization in post-secondary and adult education from Capella University. Machida has worked as an RN in various areas of the medical field, including a non-profit organization serving the developmental disabled for the past 21 years. She has worked as an adjunct professor at Suffolk Community College and Malloy College, as well as online instructor at Phoenix University for 4 years. She is committed herself to pastor in a church for the past 10 years and continues. She believes in teaching and preaching the word of the Lord and hopes to continue to make a difference in the community by collaborating with other churches and organizations. She is here today to share some of her challenges, sacrifices, hard work, and how she found her purpose, always rising to her circumstances and making the best of it. Now, Machida, as we were talking, and we're talking about the nursing and your nursing journey, you also went on to get your master's at Malloy and Capella, and you kept on rising. But what we want to get into is what was, I know you had challenges and difficulties, but what kept you going to just push on? What was your motivation? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So I've always considered myself to be a lifelong learner. I love to learn. Right. It's just in me to learn, and not only in learning, but in sharing that knowledge. And I just love it. I remember growing up in Jamaica when I completed my high school courses and graduated from high school. I had that urge. I had this longing to be a teacher. That was my goal, to be a teacher. But at the time I was not able to financially. My parents didn't have the financial capacity to really help me. And so that I put that aside. So in pursuing my nursing, my goal was to be a teacher, has always been to be a teacher. And so when I continue on to pursue my master's degree, at first I wanted to divert from, the normal nursing, every other things that, nursing entails, but I realized I could specialize in education. Right. And that's why I pursue my master's at first in education from Malloy, because I wanted to teach. Mm-hmm. I found myself being so fulfilled in teaching. Yes. And so I continued to pursue that, as in the master's, and I kept going because I found how would I say now? When you find your niche per se.
Yes. It gives you great satisfaction. Yes. I completely could relate to that. Now, you also work with the disabled individuals, which is a different type of population that many people either may not, if you work in a hospital setting, you may come in contact with them for, a short time, but you, for 2 decades and plus, you have committed yourself to working with these individuals. Tell us a little bit about that and how rewarding is that, serving that population?
Yes, you're so correct, Dr. Aaron. As you have stated, many, even medical personnel, they don't have the knowledge of, we would say, this population. They are the developmentally disabled, they are delayed in different aspects. And so it is challenging, and it's also rewarding, because the individuals, they depend on us, they rely upon us. For individuals who are not able to verbalize, and they're not able to basically transport themselves from wheelchairs to their bed, it's a matter of their needs that we, nurses, and also the aides, as they're called, DSPs, who work and different discipline, who work in this population, we come to understand that the individuals, they need us, they rely upon us. And when you start working with them and see that if these individuals are not moved, then they're just sitting there, all different types of medical issues. And so it is rewarding when one individual, they look at you and smile and they say thank you.
Yes.
And you ensure that they're safe, and they're fed, and they're changed, like the ADLs are done, and it's so rewarding.
Yes.
Not that the other aspect of nursing, but an individual who is sick and in the hospital, the person can ring the bell and said, okay, I need help. But for this population, they rely and they depend on every person who works for them. And so over the years, I've come to realize that it is so rewarding.
Yes.
We have so much to give in this population, but still it's an area that is still, unknown to many in the medical field.
I would agree with you. And such, like you said, such a rewarding area when people really appreciate the service that you provided for that day.
Yes.
Now we're going to get into you, not just only you are a registered professional nurse, but you are also a pastor. Now talk to us a little bit about how did you get into that role? I'm sure it requires a lot of work, hard work.
Yes. Oh, Dr. Iran, I'm telling you. I don't, many pastors who you may have spoken to or will ever speak with will say to you, Pastor, what? who basically, will see themselves as a pastor. I never, ever even thought that I would have been a pastor.
Right.
When I got saved, I just thought, Dr. Iran, that I would go to church, do what I needed to do and go home. That was just my thought.
Right.
And so I found out that as I go along, the pastors in the churches where I was a member, they started appointing me to do different things.
Right.
And I found out that, yes, but I like what I'm doing. I found myself, I was a dean for an institute, a Bible institute, where what am I doing? And I was teaching, Dr. Iran, I was teaching. Right. And I said, wait now, okay, I like, that part of it, but still didn't see myself as a pastor, because the pastor is a lot of responsibility. Even though I'm getting the training and I've gone through different phases, I never. But how did that all happen? My ex-husband, who was a pastor, and started a church basically from my basement. And so when the marriage did not work out and he left the church, I remember one day, the members came to me and said, what are we going to do?
Right.
I turned to them and I said, what are we going to do?
Right.
They're looking at me and I said, well, I'll keep the doors open if you come.
Right.
And so they came, and there was a reverend who was there, and he basically introduced me to a Rabbi Zach. And I'm telling you, Dr. Iran, I was ordained. And then it basically just started little by little by little. I found myself being responsible ministerially for a congregation.
Right.
And it went on. God transform and brings you into his purpose and his plan.
Yes.
Is just beyond me. It's all him.
Yes, and that's definitely what we're talking about today, is finding your purpose. You started
Yes.
being a nurse and a
Yes.
pastor, not planned, and sometimes that's just how life is. We end up walking in a path that we didn't even realize it was designed for us, and all the
Yes.
teaching,
Yes.
but
I agree.
it came together. Now,
Yes.
we know that, the things get crazy at times, even as a mother, being a mother to adult children and
Yes.
having, they're picking their own life.
Yes.
And sometimes, that could be difficult for a parent, especially if you foresee your children picking different paths in life. Now, I want you to kind of just speak to the mothers or just parents in general who may be feeling like, because I know you've had experience in that area, but kind of encourage them a little bit, because a lot of times, you being a pastor, you picking a different path from
Yes.
what your children may pick. But I just want you to encourage those parents that may
Yes.
be pastors or not pastors or nurses or whatever their
Yes.
profession. It really doesn't
Yes.
matter. But kind of
Yes.
just encourage them, because I know, you've had your own experience with raising your adult children.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I just want to encourage the mothers today. Having grown children, and as Dr. Iran has stated, yes, they have made their own choices, but be encouraged to know that whatever you have taught them, they will not forget. And sometimes we, as mothers, we beat up on ourselves because we see what our children can be. And when they don't basically take that path that we know is best for them, then it hurts us a lot of times. But continue to encourage, continue to let them know that they are loved, continue to just speak to them and be the support that we know that we can be. Because a lot of times, children, they have peer pressures, they have friends who are trying to mislead them and so forth, and get them a lot of times in trouble. And when they're in trouble, they still have to come back to the parents. So be there for them. And if they're not living with you, still call, be supportive, let them know that they are special. Let them know how important they are to you. Let them know how important they are as your children. And continue to just be the mother, be the parent, as you can be to the children every day. I see my children and I hug them every day. When I see them, I said, Mom, love you. I am here
Yes,
for you. What are you
absolutely.
doing? How is everything? I try to stay abreast, but as you know, they are grown and they want to do their own thing. But I am
Yes.
there and I let them know I love them and I support them.
You are listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saren Heron, and today we're talking to Merchita Vassell Carriage, who is a registered professional nurse, pastor, wife, mother. Merchita received an Associate of Applied Science in Nursing from Bronx Community College, Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Lehman College, Masters of Science in Nursing Education from Malloy University, and Masters of Science in Education with a specialization in post-secondary and adult education from Capella University. Merchita has worked in various medical fields, also for nonprofit organizations serving the developmental disabled for the past 21 years. She has worked as an adjunct professor at Suffolk Community College, Malloy University, as well as online instructor at Phoenix University for 4 years. She has committed herself to pastoring a church for the past 10 years and continues. She believes in teaching, preaching the word of the Lord, and hopes to continue to make a difference in the community by collaborating with other churches and organizations. She is here to share some of her challenges, sacrifices, hard work, and how she found her purpose. Always rise to her circumstances and making the best of it. Now, as we've been talking, Merchita, and we talked about a various number of topics, for individuals who may be in search of their purpose, whether college students are listening, so many people are listening to a program today. What do you want to say to them in terms of searching for their purpose? As you know, sometimes, like you said, you didn't know you would end up being a pastor, a registered nurse. There's so many fields that you've accomplished, but they all work together for your good, if we
Yes.
must say that. So what advice do you have for those who are in search of their purpose? They're not sure what they want to do. What do you want to say to them today?
Well, I would like to say to those who are still trying to find their purpose, Wherever you are now, whatever you are doing, just continue to do that. If you're teaching, just continue to teach and continue just to keep your ideas and your goals open. Just don't put those away because of where you are now. Because wherever you are now could be a platform to take you to where you need to go. So continue to keep those ideas, continue to keep your eyes open, keep those inspiration open. Don't give up on yourself, and continue to pursue. Okay, because if you need to get into nursing, maybe you need to finish high school first. Okay, you need to finish the next step. So every step that you take could be a step to get you to the next area or the goal or to that avenue, that area where you need to be. So don't give up on what you're doing now. Just continue to pursue. Continue to lift up yourself. So every step you realize that you're taking yourself higher and you're going higher into, and it may not seem like you're heading in the right direction. You may wonder, what am I doing here? This is not where I need to be, but this could be a platform to take you into the next step. So don't give up on yourself. Keep moving.
Now, our listeners who are listening may be wondering, how could they connect with you? If you could just quickly share your ministry, so if anyone want to look you up or join you in service one day as you continue to be a registered nurse, a pastor, a wife, and a mother, which are all very important roles that you're a part of, and you're doing it. So go ahead and tell our listeners how to connect with you.
So you can connect. The name of the church is the City of Refuge Deliverance Ministries. We are located at 125 Fifth Avenue in Bayshore, and we have services on Sundays. We have Sunday school for the children. We have 11 a.m. service. And so you're welcome to come and worship with us. You're welcome to come and visit. And we also have Bible study, following the COVID and the pandemic. We have Bible studies on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. via the Zoom. And so you can always reach out to me. My phone number, is that okay? It is 631-804-2200. And you can always reach out to me, call. As a pastor, we are available 24/7. So you can always call, and you're welcome to visit.
Thank you for being on our program today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I'm Dr. Saren Heran. It is evident we all have a story. No matter what challenges that you are faced with, hold on. Day by day, it will change. Nothing will remain the same forever. Have hope, even just a little, and be encouraged while you ride out your storm. Surround yourself with positive people. And my hope is that you will find your purpose and walk into it. Have an amazing rest of your day. Blessings to you all. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Rise, available wherever you listen to podcasts, and always right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.